Hi, everyone. I'm Bérubé. Welcome back to Embodied. Today, I get to share a conversation with someone who's not only a brilliant nutritionist and a best-selling author, but also a dear friend of mine, Julie Daniluk. Julie has this rare gift of making healing feel possible, gentle, and even joyful. And in this episode, we go somewhere very personal. Because this season on the podcast, it's all about trust, trusting our bodies, our intuition, and the deeper truth moving through us. I wanted to explore all of that with Julie. She opens up about her own journey with food, emotional coping, menopause, and the way she rebuilt a loving and respectful relationship with her body. It's honest, tender, and full of wisdom. I'm so grateful for her, and I can't wait for you to hear this conversation. Oh, hi, Julie.
Hello, sweetheart. It is so great to be back.
Yes, I'm so glad that you're here. Oh, I wish we lived closer because I love to hang out, see you in person more often than every few years. But we got a chance to see each other a few months ago, and which
Oh, it
was
was
really
epic.
nice.
It was a beautiful, beautiful brunch, and you took us to the most beautiful restaurant. So I will get back to the East Coast once a year. I think I have to make it a mission for sure.
Amazing. We love you here. Like, yeah,
Yay.
absolutely.
Good.
Um, so yeah, you were on the podcast a few years ago, and you're best-selling author and award-winning author, and you are a powerful expert and inspiration when it comes to food and inflammation and eating for your best health. And I think we talked a lot about that last time on the podcast. We talked about, your journey. But today I wanted to go a little bit more personal because the theme of this season is trust.
We love
And it's such a big topic because, we when we talk about trust, we can talk about trusting ourselves, trusting others, trusting life, trusting the universe. It's so massive, but I have myself have been really intrigued lately um, about if I like, where can I deepen my trust in myself even more? And how would that change my life? How would that deepen my experience of myself if I could trust more? And so I've been kind of exploring this, in my writings, on the podcast, with guests. And so I would love to dive into that topic with you today, Julie. You're
It's
up
a
for it.
perfect topic for me right now.
Is
For
it?
sure. Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness.
Because
Uh,
there's new trust to be found for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Changes.
Yeah, big changes. Like I am wrapping up a 25 city book tour and I actually don't know what the next step is. And it's always a big leap of faith as an entrepreneur that you are going to step into the abyss and manifest enough money to keep your company running. Cause I actually have 5 staff members.
Yeah.
But that's really interesting. I do find the years when I'm not on a book tour far more soul searching and very much having to put your faith and trust that it will work out,
Hmm. Yeah.
that if you are in service and make it about being a contribution, then the energy flows in the right direction.
Yes. Oh, I can really relate to that. I don't know if you went through a similar experience during the pandemic, but I had to rethink everything because my favorite thing is to speak in front of people or
Mhm.
and teach and lead workshops and do presentation, and that was my revenue, where my most of my revenue came from. And then I remember asking myself, like, okay, like if it's meant to be that I'm not supposed to be in service in this way anymore, like I'm okay to surrender it, but then I would go deeper into myself and go like, no, this is the most meaningful way that, that, that I want to be there and show up for others. So it's as an entrepreneur, like, and with everything that's happening and changes in how, you're showing up for people, like, and social media and media in general, it's just, you always have to go back and check in and see, okay, is it still aligned, like, with who I really am? Because I'm
Yeah.
okay, like, I'm okay to let it go, but
It
you
is
know,
a fantastic exercise to sit there, stare at a candle, and, like, do you lean in when you think of a project, or do you, like, really lean out and are nervous about the next steps? Now, one thing I will say is if you're leaning back, don't think that you shouldn't pursue it just because sometimes it's not necessarily that you have this big signal that it's wrong. It could be that you're just really scared of the work. Can
yes.
be the case. But when there's a real strong, like, hell yes, that's when I really pay attention. So in the middle of the pandemic, I decided to start an online support group, as so many people did. And it's become this gorgeous place to land. And
Mm,
one thing that I've noticed is each and every month when I teach it, it's still a hell yes. And I've got like a really great support group of other teachers so that I'm not doing 100% of it myself.
uh,
And I just want to say that's when I know I'm definitely doing the right thing, is when it's not exhausting and it lights you up. Like that combination of like exciting and wow, I get to teach this. Like what a joy. I'm so grateful. And oh my goodness, I have enough support to really make this worthwhile and it's sustainable. That's a big
mm,
piece, right? Can you make something that's sustainable so that
yeah.
you're not pulling down too much of your reserves to make it happen?
Yeah, and burning yourself out.
Yeah, totally.
When your team starts to grow and you get support, I know for me, that's a big exercise in trust, because for most of my life, I did it alone.
Yeah.
And I, I think it's just from my conditioning as a child that I learned that it's actually more safe and it's better if I just do it alone. I'll just do it myself. And
Yeah.
then, in the last, I would say maybe like 7 years, like last decade, like there's this like building community and learning to trust other people with your vision and with your dream. And I love that new experience of trust for myself. So when you're talking about like, I have all this support and I have this team, and it's I'm for me, that was a big leap. It was a big shift.
Yeah. I mean,
Things
remember the great, saying from Africa, which is, "If you wanna go fast, go alone, but if you wanna go far, go together." So
yeah,
I think that's a big thing is, like, you're ready to go far, and you've gone fast, and you've built it, and you've written the books, and you've got all these amazing events going. But by having the team, it just allows you to expand capacity and also,
yeah,
like, make these really cool connections that you are surprised by. So that's
yeah,
neat. Yeah.
absolutely. And you really get to learn more about yourself through those relationships.
Yeah, totally. Because it's only through the mirror we
Yes.
really have a good reflection because we can have a distorted self view, good and bad. So oftentimes the voice in our head is telling us negative things that when we check in with another person, they're like, oh, no, 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 you are totally imagining that. And then there's the other thing where sometimes when you have the mirror held up, you're able to see, wow, I could really work on this piece and,
Yeah.
grow in this capacity. So I
Yeah.
really do appreciate having a team for sure.
That's beautiful. So let's talk about the body and our
Ooh.
relationship to trust and trusting the body. I know that you know, you've come to this place where, you have such a beautiful relationship with your body. I mean, this is from my perception. you, you have this healthy, trusting relationship now with your body. But I'd love for you to share, like, it wasn't always like that, right? Like this was a relationship, a partnership that developed over time.
Yes,
Um,
very much
Tell
so.
me a little bit more about that relationship with your body and how you
Sure.
learned to trust it.
I'm gonna be honest, and I'm hoping my mom doesn't listen to that.
Mom, just turn it off for a second.
Yeah, exactly. Mom, turn it off. Just that my mother and my grandmother very much had a very strict body image. And when I was at a very influential age, like 12, we were very much educated on what a woman was supposed to look like and was expected of us. And there was real from my grandmother, who's very pretty. There was this carryover of, if you want to be loved, be as youthful as possible for as
Ah,
long as possible. So there was this overemphasis on weight, on yeah, just conforming to a certain body image, which was really hard. And I ended up, and I also, to compound things, decided to go to acting school where, I was in dance classes along with people who've been dancing since they were 2, and I found that caused a lot of body dysmorphia. And then I had a real emotional eating issue as certain members of my family were having addiction. The safest addiction was to control my food. So that's a real common thing. Like if you're raised in a family with an alcoholic, if you're not wanting to go down that path, sometimes you'll take a maladaptive coping mechanism of either
mm,
hyper controlling your food, or you come off that hyper control and you'll binge eat. So either bulimia or anorexia is so common in a way to react to the stressors of your family.
mm.
So that's why I was so fortunate to walk into a appointment with an acupuncturist when I was having knee pain, and for her to just call it out. And she said, "Are you a dancer?" And I said, "Well, not really. I started dancing too late, but I'm an actor who dances." And she said, "Do you have an eating disorder?" And I was like,
Oh, wow.
"How do you know I would have an eating disorder as a acupuncturist?" And she said, "Well, it takes one to know one. I'm a former ballerina, and I'm really concerned for you."
Oh,
And I was like, "Okay, well, I need to look at this." So I ended up diving into eating psychology and going into therapy to really change my relationship to food. And I'll never forget that last time that I said goodbye to binge eating behavior. My aunt had just died. I was in a movie theater, self-soothing, with a bucket of popcorn on one arm and a Cinnabon on the other. Just like, "Ah."
comfort.
Yeah. Yeah, it was giving me no comfort because, let's face it only makes you feel horrendous. Like,
Yeah,
you're getting that little bit of dopamine, that little bit of comfort in the moment,
for seconds.
seconds, and then the nausea, the temptation to get rid of it, the horrible guilt, the feelings of ugh, wash over you. And I just left all of that in the seats, and I went home and, like, burrowed through my house, and I remember hearing from a nutrition teacher, "Eat sauerkraut, eat sauerkraut." And so I ate the sauerkraut, and all of a sudden my stomach started to relax. And of course, sauerkraut busts cravings for sugar in a beautiful way and has all this good bacteria that sort of replenish your gut flora. And that was one of the very last times I ever did that. And I just am so grateful for going to nutrition school and eating psychology school and trusting the process of finding adaptive coping mechanisms, the self-care, the meditation, the deep breathing, which I use constantly, all the vasovagal stuff that we can talk about. I just feel it's so important for us to have an upward spiraling way of coping
Yeah.
instead of a downward spiral. And I think that was my big trust moment for sure.
Well, how old were you when that happened? You were
I was
in
I
movie
was
theater.
in nutrition school, so it would have been, 31 when my aunt sadly passed from alcoholism.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was your relationship between like emotions and food at the time? Like, were you like when you're in it, you can't see it, but if in hindsight,
Mm.
what was the connection between the two? Because you can decide to just eat sauerkraut and stop eating the popcorn, but then you're flooded with what's there and hasn't been addressed.
Exactly. So I think a big piece is that, it's not like the temptations go away. It's the fact that you have, like, a bunch of pylons before the car crash. So that's the thing I had to actually put in and trust that if I put in some ways of coping that I wouldn't need, because there's always, if anyone out there has ever had an emotional binge behavior or maybe even alcoholism or any other addiction, you stand on the precipice,
Mm.
like literally with this feeling of you're about to fall. And you don't always have to jump off. There's that moment of choice. And while you're still in that conscious moment before the binge, because in the binge, you're right, you go somewhere else. It's really interesting that you're almost watching yourself from the outside and you're completely disconnected. Part of the reason why food works like alcohol is that you almost go into a food coma. So you're so altered that you actually have gaps in memory. Like I remember looking down and seeing a whole row of cookies missing, but I don't remember tasting the individual cookies.
Oh, wow.
So it's so important for us to build in the coping skills. And that's where in therapy, there's often great cognitive behavioral therapy that happens where it's like, okay, when this feeling occurs, I will do X, Y, Z
Hmm.
before I jump. I
Mhm.
will call a friend. I will, find a safe food, protein, eat protein, so
Yeah.
important, balances your blood sugar, but
You
doesn't
don't wanna
spike your insulin, right? Where if you go for sweet, if you go for carbs, your blood sugar is gonna go up and
yeah.
then crash again, right? And more cravings come.
You don't wanna reach for the protein, like, it's almost like it's the last thing you really want
Yeah,
at the moment, but every single time, you feel so much better on the other side.
exactly.
It's almost
So
like your that nervous system that's, like, in fight or flight in that moment doesn't remember the last time and how good it felt when you did eat the protein, but there's this, I love that you're putting in that space. It's almost like, just a space to yeah, to make that different decision, but also to observe the discomfort and be like, "That's the truth of actually what's happening."
you nailed it because at the end of the day, all we're doing is trying to evade our feelings. All we're doing is trying to stop the pain, or I wanna put in something crazy here. I've done a lot of research on this. We also have, if we go to Freud for a moment, we have a death drive. We don't just have a life drive. When we have that death drive, that need to do something naughty, the need to blow up your partner, the need to drive too fast while you're texting, that need to do that. We have to be super careful not to give that too much power, right?
Yes.
So we're
Yeah.
always fighting between like, I just want to feel bad for a minute. So I think part of food binges is I just want to feel a little worse because I'm feeling so bad. It's like, why do scared people watch horror movies? Like it's so
I
interesting.
think it's a little way to get back control and what you're describing, I had someone on the podcast, last winter that talked about money and, like, going to shop to feel that feeling to like, to just feel that discomfort, like, that void, and, and that it is, like, I feel like I need to take control and maybe I've served so many people today or I've been there for everyone, but nobody was there for me. So if I'm going to go and buy this, I'm going to go and eat that. then I'm going to feel like I'm in control of I don't know, doing something for
So
me.
I get to make a choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a but even though it's a bad choice, I
Yeah.
get to choose it.
I'd get to do it.
No one's gonna tell me to eat healthy right now when I'm really struggling, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So interesting. And then there's the compound interest of if you were in a family where everyone is like, "Oh, just have this once. Come on, just do this with me."
Yeah.
And there's that compound interest of, "Oh, when I eat this, I'm gonna remember that feeling I had and connect with the person who's maybe passed on or who can't be with me in the moment, but
Yeah.
I can bond with them over that." Right?
Yeah. And feeling like I belong, which is super important for us to feel like, oh, I belong with this person or with this group of people. So, just
Totally.
wine and how it's difficult to, or alcohol, it's difficult to socially give it up because it's belonging is like a life or death consideration inside our bodies. Like we need to belong or else you know, the kind of prehistorical brain remembers. I will die.
Absolutely.
I don't belong. I
I'm
will die.
just so glad that you brought that up because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to feel better.
Hmm.
Just have different coping mechanisms, and
Yeah.
if you have been raised that food is your chosen and preferred coping tool,
Yeah.
then oftentimes it will be an overindulgence. And so what has fundamentally changed my life is finding the stack. And I do the habit stack daily now. I even have this really cool reminder on my phone that I have to check off, and I have the habit stack
Oh, wow.
where I'm like, I done some vasovagal work today? So it's either humming, gargling, have I tapped all over my body? Like anything that puts you and grounds you back in your body and stimulates your vagus nerve, which runs from your brain into your belly and turns you from that fear, that scared fight or flight back into rest and digest. Then
Mm.
all of a sudden I have a greater capacity before the cravings kick in because I've already got a buffer of feeling grounded. So you don't get to that place of I have to eat crazy food,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
It's
And
so
then
it's so connected and I think like for the longest time we didn't really connect the two, like
uh-huh.
this emotional, mental, psychological, and then the food that we eat and how our body um digests it. So I just absolutely love that you're diving deep into that. And I'm wondering, are you going to write a book that's about the connection between your food and your intuition and your emotions and your well-being? Like I
I
feel
really
there's
appreciate this. Know that there's a ton of it in my book, Becoming Sugar Free,
yes.
because to commit to going sugar free, which I have been for about a decade, is
Ta-da.
so, challenging for some people. This is my one of my least me like, the lowest selling books because people read it and they're like, "I'm I'm not able to give up."
I can't do that. One of my favorite, Julie, like really truly, like I love this one so much because you're diving into that space.
Yeah, so there's a whole chart on the vagus nerve and all the techniques to help to de-stress, and then there's a huge amount on emotional eating. Because I truly went through the journey, I just feel like, the wounded healer. I'm here, present, ready to help people break up with their food addictions, with such compassion. So I did go back to school to become an eating psychology coach. So I'm a nutritionist first and then an eating psychology coach. So that's where those skills come from
That's
for sure.
amazing.
Yeah.
So, you know, in I read this about you, like I think it's on your website where you said that following your intuition about the foods that you choose to eat has made you a more conscious and a more kind person.
Hmm.
Can you tell me more about that connection? And like I would love to know, how does that work for you? This intuitive healing.
Sure.
Eating, sorry, intuitive
Sure.
eating.
I mean, what's really interesting is there's a movement with intuitive eating in the common world at the moment, where you just eat what you want and give into your cravings. And if you really want a bag of chips, have a bag of chips. So I just want to say, I believe wholeheartedly that we have to go underneath the standard American food cravings that are being driven by the food itself being chemically altered to the state where it is hyperaddictive. Then we have to get underneath sort of our childhood conditioning. And then underneath that, sort of like the subcockles of your heart, you're going to actually get in touch with what you actually need, which is so different than what you crave.
Right.
So that's my issue with this
Mhm.
standard intuitive eating movement,
Yeah.
because I believe that potato chips are not food. I
Right.
believe that cane sugar, hyper refined to a white powder, then put with petroleum and made into candy is not actually food.
It's not a food.
It's not a food. So that's the problem is that, um, I believe that our guts are actually ordering dinner. So if you have a massive small intestinal fungal overgrowth called candida, for example, if your candida is running the show, you're going to be craving sugar morning, noon, and night. So it's so interesting that it was only when I committed to eating whole food, and when I mean committed, I mean I virtually don't eat anything with an ingredient list anymore. I now pretty much eat foods combined, but they're all like original whole foods. So I've let go of a lot of sweeteners, and now I find myself sitting in this place of like, when you're tapping in and you don't have cravings, but you just are like, huh, what do I really need? Then you're able to go for the proteins and the good fats and the healing veggies and fruits without the need for like, oh, you know what I'd really love now? And like have that literal maraschino cherry on top with petroleum dye.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's been quite different because I have a really difficult time with so many people want to be told that they should accept themselves exactly as they are. The trouble is, what if you are in severe
Imbalance.
imbalance and
Yeah.
you have a real health issue at the moment, and
Do
we
you
need to work
let
on your
that
metabolism.
yeah. You don't wanna let that flourish. That's not what we're talking about. It's that
Exactly.
you want that healthy version of you to flourish. You want you
Right.
and all the possibilities that of what you can become. That's what we want you to be, not the yeah.
100% because what we're challenged by is that if you say, just accept yourself exactly as you are you accepting yourself or are you just giving up? Like, are you just pulling the ripcord
Yeah.
and letting yourself fall?
Mhm.
I really think that I like to think that we're always evolving and that we can always improve because
Mhm.
I know that I'm stronger at 55 than I ever was at 30. So I know that we can get healthier and that age really is not something that we have to worry about if we choose to focus on those longevity practices. It can get better. And I trust in that. So that's one thing I can trust in is that we can get better. But we do need to get underneath and look at like what is causing our dis-ease.
Yeah.
And if we can really work on that, then things do get better. I see it all the time.
I'm really excited about what you just said because it's something that I've been very interested in. And I think, especially through perimenopause, like just this idea that we're really flipping on its head, like the way that we women used to age now. And, and, I also feel better than I've ever felt. I feel stronger than I've ever felt. And I'm really excited for how much I can thrive and feel alive until I'm 95 or 100. And and we have like we have access to a lot of, new science and new information about how it's possible. And And so and I think it has to go hand in hand with the self-examination of our core beliefs, of our conditioning, of the, emotional baggage that we carry, because the body can't be separate from that. And so, you could change your diet but if there's this underlying, fear or wound, um it will be very difficult to
It'll just be a food prison, and you'll wanna break out,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
food prison is, "I'm gonna go on a diet, and it has to be chicken on Tuesday night at 6 p.m." Like, those rules don't work.
Yeah.
That's why I try to help people see we're gonna break free of diet and just do a live it, like something that actually changes with you over time, and we're gonna eat for your goals. What's your goal?
Yeah.
And if you have a health condition, let's really build that as the goal is to let go of this disease and move our body into a state of ease.
Yeah.
And that is a huge trust process and takes up
Mhm.
to a year. And if
And
you
it's this
give me a
yeah.
year, I promise you, you will be happier and have more energy at the end of it because it's just amazing. Wash and repeat how many tens of thousands of people have these breakthroughs once we let go of the hyper refined food that is destroying our even our ability to think clearly. Like, I love that within a week of getting off hyper refined foods, people report the first thing they report, oh my gosh, my brain fog's gone. Yeah, because we're not sitting in that hyperglycemic haze.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. 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 And then when you tell people it's, give it a year, a lot of the time they don't like that. And so it does take a certain level of self-responsibility and self-love to say, maybe it is decades behind me of abusing my body. I deserve to take this year, or, I want to do this for myself. And
And
so
they don't
without,
always take a year, but give me a month for every year you've had disease.
yeah, there
So
you
if
go.
you have had a decade of an issue, I need 10 months to
Yeah.
really help you because we're resetting your hormones. We're often losing a massive amount of fat around the visceral organs, right?
Yeah.
This muffin top is not harmless. It's the most dangerous fat of the whole body because it's tucked around your liver and causing massive hormonal havoc. So
Mhm.
that's what we really wanna work on first is let's balance your blood sugar like your life depends on it because it does. Like, it is the driver of heart disease, the driver of Alzheimer's, the driver of cancer. So if we can really work on blood sugar balance,
Mhm.
it feels so good. I promise you it feels good, and you feel smarter, and there's nothing greater than having that calm confidence that comes with balanced blood sugar. Because I know you know that from going off gluten and really committing to a grain-free, sugar-free lifestyle. There's just this where you can trust. So if you're anxious all the time and you're like, "Where is my trust? Why don't I have where is it?" It could literally just be your brain chemistry out of balance
Yeah.
because your blood sugar is so deranged.
Yeah, and I had someone on the podcast, Dr. Ellen Vora, recently, and she wrote the book, um, The Anatomy of Anxiety, and so she
Mm.
talks about false anxiety, and where it's actually mostly just those habits, and that, like you said, like, you don't know, like, suddenly, you stop eating certain foods, and then you feel really calm, and you feel really at peace, and you don't have this, like, midday, like, panic for something.
Mhm.
And, I remember a day a long time ago, maybe 20 years now, where I'd wonder when is it time for me to go from coffee to wine? It's like, is it too early or too late? Like, before I started doing all this work, it's like, I'm ready.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. It's just
That's
like,
a T-shirt, man. We
it
gotta put that up.
is
What?
time to switch from coffee to wine. Yes. And so imagine just always like keeping at bay everything that's uncomfortable. And then
Yeah.
when you stop. And and alcohol is an interesting one for me too, because I stopped drinking in 2012 and I didn't drink for 8 years at all. And now like it's kind of a little bit in there, but um the that the absence of that fog it means so much to me now, like because at one point you decide that you're going to be everything you can be, and that you're going to make your purpose, what you came here to do, um you know your priority, and you're going to love it. And then for that you need a brain that is sharp. You need an emotional state that is balanced. You need to be able to to navigate so much. And so I think it's just all these choice points along the way
I
of
love that.
choosing
I love what you
ourselves.
just said there. It's so beautiful. A lot of people drink because they feel pressure. They feel everything's too much. And now that I'm in a place of like feeling more balanced, I feel like the pressure's a privilege. Like I get to do this.
Mm,
Have to do this. I get to do this. And
yeah.
I shift that perspective. I can't believe how powerful it is to serve people from that place. And I've noticed how much I've been enjoying more work lately from that choice, because that's what circling back, that's what we want in this life, is just to have a choice. So if we
Yes.
can choose it consistently by saying, I signed up for this, I'm going to choose this pressure because it's going to actually help me evolve and I'm going to connect and feel good,
Yeah.
then life works great. Like, I'm so grateful to have a chance just to talk to you and go deeper. So many people just talk on the surface.
Yeah.
So nice to go deep with someone.
That's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
I'm your
It's
friend.
yeah.
Yay.
So to go back to what you were saying about intuitive healing, eating. I don't know why I'm saying intuitive healing, but must be on my mind. So your gut is not your intuition, basically, is what you're saying, right? Like when
Well,
your
no,
gut
just
tells you that.
we're always told that you have a gut feeling, and it's true.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
much that they just ran an experiment, and I have to pull it up. I don't have it nearly clear enough, but they've just proven that the gut can spot a liar faster than a computer. So
Ooh, I
we
believe that.
actually, yeah, that our gut, we have great gut intuition. But the trouble is, our gut is made up of billions and billions of bacteria. Like there's more bacteria in your bowels than there are cells in your body.
Oh,
And they are ordering up dinner for you. And there's all these parking spots. So on the microvilli, there's these huge grooves and there's spots for the bacteria and viruses and parasites and all the yeast to land on the actual lining of your gut. They're like little parking spots. So if you've just had rounds of antibiotics, they now know that one round of antibiotics can increase your depression risk by 22%. Two
mm,
rounds of antibiotics, that pops to over 50%. So within the year. So
yeah.
if you are having a lot of antibiotics, you've killed off all the good bacteria that help you make serotonin, that help you make melatonin, that help you literally sleep better, that help you function and have perkiness and happiness. So all those are died off, right? So now
Yeah.
we're filling up the parking spots with a lot of yeast, and the yeast literally feeds on sugar, and it sends a message via the vagus nerve to the brain saying, eat more sugar now. I'm like,
Mm,
"Oh, I have this, like, need for sugar." Do you? Or does the yeast need a need for sugar, and you're
exactly.
actually being fed the wrong message?
So it's learning how to
Yeah. Yeah.
discern how your body's talking to you.
Mhm.
And
'Cause
you
what
do
I
that.
love about protein is that it's actually self-limiting. Like, if you try to eat a steak
Yeah.
until have you ever tried? Like, you just like, "I can't eat another bite."
Yes.
Where if you did the
Yeah.
same thing with cookies, it's like limitless, right?
Yeah.
You just want more and more. So it
Yes.
really is cool that broccoli is self-limiting. All of the good healthy, like eggs, are self-limiting. So if we stick with whole foods, they actually tell you, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's funny because when we go see our traditional Chinese doctor, Paul and I, he always says, "You're not eating enough." And Paul, like when he goes to his trainer, he says, "You're not eating enough protein." And we're literally like eating as much as we can. And then we're like, we're full. And then like, and then we should be eating more. And so it's, I know that it's like, yeah, it's just a change in, you know, from how we used to see all the foods we're supposed to eat in a meal. Like it's a really a change in mind shift. Like it's a mind shift so that
And I promise you, if you knock back on the carbs, we make room for the other things that we
you do,
actually
right?
need, right?
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, most people are fed like the bread when they first arrive to the restaurant. And,
Yes.
if we don't load up on that, we're just amazed at how much we can feel that good
Yeah.
feelings from the olive oil and
Yeah.
the delicious, healthy
Yeah.
foods for sure. I've made a major shift and I'm like, nah, I don't got room for that. And yeah, the new paradigm is that if we eat fiber, fat, protein before we eat a carb, then we actually avoid all blood sugar spikes. So in 2015, there was a cool study where they noticed that people who eat the foods in that order can blunt off their blood sugar by up to a third. So instead of your blood sugar going to 8.5, it'll go to like 6 or maybe
Can you
5.
just say that order again?
Sure. So you want to eat fiber, then fat, then protein, then carbs. If you're going to eat them, they should go dead last. And the reason why is because we need to have those pylons help
Mm-hmm.
buffer our blood sugar so that we don't end up having a blood sugar spike from the carbohydrates. So all
Mm-hmm.
those foods will keep the blood sugar under control and have less of an insulin response, which is really critical.
Yeah. To me, it's all about like how I feel after, right? Because then you can't do anything super productive or super
Mm.
exciting after if you're crashing. It's an actual emotional breakdown almost sometimes, right? So
Yeah.
it's like that's not worth it. Like that's not worth it.
Yeah. Nothing tastes as good as healthy feels.
Mm. I love that. So when it comes to like you probably have been thinking about menopause and perimenopause and like the impact of like the hormones, you know, kind of going out of whack for a little while. Um
I
on
I had really significant menopause. So I'm you know, 55. So I'm actually on the other side. And I'm here to say, ladies, it gets better. It gets
yeah.
so much better if
Nice.
we love up our adrenals. Our adrenals take over for our ovaries. So that's why in certain places where they have low stress, certain places in Japan and certain places in Africa, they don't have the same menopausal symptoms. They don't even have words for menopause. So
Right.
it's a really good idea to let your adrenals make it can actually help buffer and take over for you. And that's why if your adrenals are burnt out, that's when hot flashes become very significant. So that's why we really want to work on. I'm not going to lie, I rely on things like adrenal glandular to
Mhm.
help me when I'm like performing at my highest, where I'm on the road, on television. I take adrenal glandular because it actually is an adrenal from an animal that's giving me extra buffer so that
Yeah.
I don't burn down my own reserves,
Like
and
the
it feels
secreted cortex, like that one?
great.
Like
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
I do
take
the
it
same.
from, the one that's really, really good is, from Designs for Health, so we can put that in the show notes if people want it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I started last January and it like yeah, it's incredible, the difference. And so do like one of the things that I've noticed, and I have no idea if you're able to help me with this, but I'm still gonna say it. We're talking about like that space of discomfort before you indulge, you know. So for me, and it's getting worse with perimenopause, is this instinct to like to blame. So I think for me, like it's just like it's about I'm uncomfortable. I don't like this feeling, and it's somebody's fault.
Mm, mm.
And so, so I, d- and then if I don't say anything, which I probably shouldn't because it's not about anyone else but me. But if I don't say anything, then I start to feel like then is when the food cravings come because I just kept all this.
Yeah, you eat them down, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, like, and I find that it gets worse with the hormone imbalance.
Sure. So one thing that has helped me with my partner, because I will say it, is that sometimes I will speak in the third person because that seems
Okay.
to help. So I will say, Alan, I am really seeing that there may be a reason why I'm feeling this that's not necessarily like I'll try to like speak in such a way that is not blaming him,
Yeah.
that whole like
Yeah.
nonviolent communication thing, but that I express it, but not at him. He
Yeah.
loves that. He's always like, "If you could word it in such a way that it's not directly my."
That's good. I like
I'm
that.
trying to come up with like a precise example that happened recently where I think a really good one was just like a misunderstanding around driving or something where, okay, I know that you are following the speed limit and that you are a very good driver. And I'm feeling a ton of anxiety while being in the car in the passenger seat. So I just try to have
Oh my gosh. It's so good. I
Ugh,
love that because it's the expression has to come out, but
it
it's
does.
definitely not about, and it's not about them, but it has to come out. And it was just yesterday, I was home and I was processing something. Like I was like, oh, like
Yeah.
any thought was making me tear up. And I was writing, so I was working on a piece of writing that was hard. And then Paul comes home and I'm like, I thought I had the house to myself, kind of thing. And then I was like, how am I going to express this without, it becoming and then it's this game almost like I'm feeling like this. It has nothing to do with you,
Yeah.
but it really can't be around you, but it has nothing to do with you. And I'm breathing deeply not to annoy you. It's like, oh my goodness, it's so complicated.
It is.
But
Part-time job.
yeah, it is like, and it just feels like just more intense as the years go by. But, I think we're
Yeah.
just coming into our crone and coming into a different version of ourselves, coming into maybe a more of a no bullshit kind of era. And I don't know, like this
I
is
also
the
feel that we come
honeymoon
into a
phase.
place of, we don't care if somebody like, I think all of our politeness is in part because we care so deeply about people's opinions of us. And
Hmm.
as we move towards, the crone era, I find there's like I can take up space because I actually have a ton to offer and I'm more confident in myself. And therefore, there is that sort of like letting go of having to walk on eggshells. So I hear you on that.
Hmm.
Just feel that I genuinely feel that if we work on, I do need to have XYZ to feel comfortable. And it's okay that you ask for space, but I hear you that it's the tone. It's our choice of tone
Yeah,
how it will land on the other side because our partner, does have to get to know this new person that's arriving, right?
that's arriving.
Similar
Exactly.
to your 10-year-old was very, very different than your 14-year-old. So I can only imagine that you had to get to know that kid who wasn't like how an 8-year-old just can't wait to spend time with you and they just relish in every moment with you. And then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, I wanna go off and do my own thing." And so similar, it's just women wanna go off and do their own thing.
Yeah.
Having a partner understand that it really is just time for you to have that really comfortable space. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear
Yeah,
you.
and And it comes back to, what you were talking about earlier about that moment of choice and the bigger that moment of choice can be, the longer you can stay in that discomfort and get the more perspective we have. And that just comes with practice, right? It's like you can actually expand that moment of choice where you're on the edge of the precipice and go like, okay, there's so many options for me right now. Like there's not just this one way of reacting, like going from stimulus to reaction. It's more like, oh, wait a second. I can do this consciously.
Totally.
Even if my
And
lips quiver or my neck gets red, women, we struggle sometimes with moving that fire through our body, but it's okay to just do it awkwardly, but just to try and put sound in that moment of choice. And
I love that. And
Mhm.
also, back to food choice. So when you have had the, awkward moment with the partner and now you're retreating and there's a chocolate bar in your writing layer, um, it is about, like, could you buffer yourself with those 3 foods? Could you think, "Okay, I'm gonna have some macadamia nuts in
Mhm.
there. I'm
Yep,
gonna crack open a bottle of olives out of the fridge."
yep,
Because you might need some grounding. You might need food to help you feel physically back in your body, especially if you've been upset. It's so
yep,
normal to have
yeah.
those cravings.
I
Uh,
was in the kitchen cooking when that happened because I needed to fill up my body.
mhm.
Yeah, I have these. Are these good? They're in my office.
Yeah,
One
I mean,
spot.
they're so much better than other bars.
Yeah,
So they're the cleanest. Like, notice that I like it's just bare ingredients put
yeah,
together. Like, combining ingredients are fine, but each ingredient doesn't have its own, like, 20 ingredient
yes,
sublist, you know,
yeah.
like chocolate
This is
chips.
the version of what it was, and this is the version of what it was. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. I so the nuts and the olives, those are my go-to as well. So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Because
Oh.
they're so grounding.
Mhm.
Well, it's been wonderful. Thank you so much, and thanks for ripping the Band-Aid off. You know, I love that we don't talk in sound bites on your show. We have so many moments of, like, it sorting it out together, which is lovely.
Oh, thank you. It was so good to talk to you, Julie. I
Mm.
just adore your work, and I'm always excited to see where you're going with it, because it changes a lot of people's lives, and it's so meaningful. And next time we talk, we'll talk more about longevity.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay.
And I would just love to, have more of these, period, just because women help women live longer, and I've learned that deep
Uh,
conversations with women are soul food. We need it. So,
I agree so fully with you. Oh, that's beautifully said. Women, say that again.
women help women live longer, so it's scientifically proven that with at least a friend group of 3 to 5 women that actually mirror back to you life and, like, listen to you, support you, then we genuinely live longer and very differently than if we have men in our lives. So it's really important to have those good female friendships and keep nurturing those. And I'm so thrilled to consider you such a dear friend. Like,
Mm,
go back since I think 2012, 2013.
yeah.
So
When
awesome.
we went on tour with,
Uh,
Dr. Bill Davis and across Canada. It was pretty
yeah.
intense. That
Oh,
was
it's so
fun.
beautiful.
I really appreciate you, my friend, as well. And, can you wanna tell people how they can engage with you?
Oh, I'd love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people can find me obviously on my website, which is just my name, juliedaniluk.com. Then also, if you want to check out how to be part of my awesome support group on Wednesday nights, that's thrivewithjulie.com. And then on socials, I'm mostly at Julie Daniluk, which is super easy. And then I just absolutely love to support. So on my newsletter, I write a love letter every week to let people know tactics, tools, and what I'm up to and how I handled life pieces. So this week was how I handled, a fitness challenge I was doing at 6 a.m. and how I refueled and what's the best breakfast, that kind of thing. So
Amazing.
thank you so much. I'm
Thanks,
so grateful.
Julie. Love you so much.
Love.
Mwah.
Mwah. Thank
Bye.
you.
Hey, thank you for listening. There can be a lot of noise and inauthenticity on the spiritual path. I help spiritual seekers experience embodied spirituality. To learn how, visit my website at annberube.com and click on the Start Here page. Oh, and subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. Until next time, be well.
Words on the street, they say that you don't care about me anymore. But you know it's in the way they walk, in the way they talk. I don't believe a thing, I don't believe a thing they say. You know I love you anyway, anytime, any place. You mean the world to me, you mean everything to me. And that's why I say, this is your life.